Okay, we're back again. We're live. Let me know if it works. Does everything work? Because somehow my stream ended. It said I didn't have an internet connection, and then everything suddenly stopped, and I had to change a couple of things around. And right now I'm not quite sure if everything is working. So if you're watching this, let me know. And if not, I guess I'm just going to start with the stream. Let me transition to the screen real quick. So now you'll see me talking in the camera. We're going to edit a couple of pictures in darktable. I've put them on the screen over here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch to the monitor or switch back to this view. Or if I need to change something or address something, you will see the Rico Richardson live stream photo. You can still chat or send something to me if you've got any questions. But if you see that happening, something is wrong and I'm going to address it. So let's start with darktable and let's start with the first picture. So I'm going to pull that one up and I'm going to change it, transition, there we go. So if all goes well, you guys are now able to see Nacho, my dog, in darktable. If you don't, please let me know in the chat, guys, because I don't really know if everything is working. I can't really tell. What I can do, by the way, is pull up my phone and see if that works. So let me go to YouTube. Just to check, because this entire year was about doing things I've never done before, and live streaming is one of them. I've built myself a computer, as you guys could see in the previous video. And then let me switch that one back real quick. There we go. So and now I can do everything at the same time. Darktable is very fast. I can still stream or I can do whatever. So let me have a look on YouTube to see if the stream is live, if I can actually check it out. So I'm going to watch or look at myself. Hey, working now. Fiscayo. Just stop by to say hello. I'll be sure to watch it after work. Doei. Okay, cool. Alright, so I'm going to keep my phone here. I'm going to change it from the Wi-Fi back to the 4Gs, just to see, just to be able to see that everything will stay working, or keep working. Okay, so what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to transition back to darktable, and we're going to start on the first picture. So I'm very sorry that everything is very chaotic. I don't like chaos as well, but it's the first time and I gotta check a couple of things. So let me transition to the screen. Here we've got a picture of our dog Nacho. I'm going to address it right now. What I've done is I've put the modules that I'm going to use in my favorites. If you don't see them over here, please go to more modules and then find them in the list down below. I see that Fiscayo says the transmission is okay. MK Journey says, what up? Hey man, I saw your video. Let me transition real quick. I saw your video, MK Journey, about you going to do a couple of things in 2020. I'm looking forward to those videos, man, because you've got a great style. But let me get back to darktable again. So I'm going to transition back. And here's Nacho. Like I said, I've put the modules in my favorites. If you don't see them over here, please go to more modules and then find them in the list down below. Now, for instance, if you want to find the modules in a different way, what you can do is you can use this bar over here. We've got a basic group, we've got a tone group, we've got a color group, and then we've got a correction group, and we've got a effects group. So I'm going back to the favorites, and the first thing, when I saw this image, I was like, it's very, very bright, and what I want to do is I want to change this in a black and white image, but before I'm going to do that, I want to change a couple of things. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up the basic adjustments module. I'm going to activate it. And the reason why I'm going to use the basic adjustments module is because I saw a couple of posts on darktable on the Facebook group about people posting photos that have only been edited using the basic adjustments module. And I figured, well, why not go and use it myself as well? Once again, I've did it before, as you can see in different photos, but I'm going to compress the highlights real quick. And it's real time. It's very, very fast. This computer is very fast. I'm very happy with it. I'm going to increase the black point as well, because the great thing about a bright day like this is that Nacho comes out very, very good. In normal conditions, or if there's shade or anything, everything else is exposed properly, but the dog is very, very dark. So that's what makes this image work for me. I'm going to increase the black level. If I move it to the left, you see that it's getting a faded out type of look. It's a little bit cinematic, but I'm going to increase the black point, and it's very strong. You don't need to increase it by a lot because you see that there's a huge difference. So I'm just going to tune it down, but make sure that the black point is increased just a little bit. I'm going to keep the exposure as is because everything is exposed properly. And I'm not going to change the brightness, and I'm not going to change the saturation other than bringing it back to make it black and white. Now let's close that one down. And what I want to do is I want to enhance the dark parts, and I want to decrease the highlights a little bit. And for that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the tone curve. I'm going to activate it, and the shadows are over here, the midtones are over there, and the highlights are over here. Now what I want to do is I want to make this less white. So I'm going to create a point over here and just drag this down a little bit. And you see that it's already shifting. And I think that looks pretty fine because that makes it look flat. But I want to increase the shadows a little bit to make the dark stand out a little bit better. And let me show you guys before and after by clicking this symbol right here. So here's a before and here's an after. And it's very, very bright. But I absolutely love how this looks. Now just for the sake of this tutorial, I'm going to activate the sharpen module, and you see that Nacho is becoming a little bit more sharp. And what I want to do as well is I want to crop this image to make him the subject of the image. He already is, but I want to make him stand out even better. I'm going to change this, so I did it really quick, but if you click on the aspect, you can change it from freehand to original image or use a square for, let's say, Instagram. Or the 4x5 for Instagram, and I think this looks pretty fine, so I'm going to make sure that he's in the middle. I'm not going to use any keystones or guides or whatever, but you can if you want to. You can use a grid, you can use the rules of thirds. This is a very popular one obviously, but let's make sure he's in the middle. Okay, double click it, there we go. So now he really stands out of this image, and I like it a lot. And just as a final touch, I'm going to denoise the image a little bit because I see some noise over here. So for that, I'm going to use the denoise profile one. And you see that it found a match for ISO 160. And then MK Journey asks, darktable is like Lightroom. Well, the thing is, let me transition back to me. The thing is, darktable isn't like Lightroom. In my opinion, it's even better because it's got a lot of masking options that work a lot better than Lightroom. However, it's a completely different program, so you can't really match them one to one. What I tried to do the past year is, because I've made 55 tutorials on darktable last year, I've counted them last night, and what I tried to do was show people that want to transfer from Lightroom to darktable how they can do it, or how to use several modules in darktable that match different modules in Lightroom. So for color grading and stuff like that, you can use the color zones module, for instance, or you can use the parametric mask if you want to target specific areas. And I think you should really give it a go. I'm a very big fan of darktable. I'm using On1 right now as well. It's a great program, but darktable is still my go-to program. And for editing videos like you are doing, I'm using DaVinci Resolve. I've just switched. I'm going to switch next year as well. And it absolutely blown me away, especially because of the fact that DaVinci Resolve has two versions, a free version and a studio version. And the studio version is only a one-time purchase of $299. And the Adobe products, the Adobe Creative Cloud, you need to, you know, pay a subscription model and stuff like that. And I don't really like that. I just want to pay once and then be done with it and get free upgrades and stuff like that. So let me go back to the screen again of Nacho. So as I said, the denoise profile module, I'm going to click this symbol right here. I'm going to use the chroma, which says use on first instance. And I'm going to create a new instance by clicking this little symbol. Here we go. And then I'm going to use the Luma one. And now you see that noise is gone. Let me show you guys before and after. So I'm going to click the crop and rotate. You see a lot of noise in this area. And if I click the last step, you see that it's all gone. Now let me take a snapshot because I'm very satisfied with this image. Let me go back to the original one, or I have to press the gamma one actually, or the orientation, I'm sorry, because darktable already puts a couple of modules on automatically. It's got a basic curve or a base curve as well, but I've just clicked on the original orientation, my bad, and then compressed the history stack, and then I've started to build this image. So let me click the orientation, let me click the snapshot, and here you see. So on the right side is the original image. It's a very flat image, it's a raw image. It's shot with a shutter speed of 500, f5.0 on 13 millimeters using the ISO 160. And the camera, if you guys want to know, is a Panasonic GX1, which I've bought for a very, very cheap price with the 12 to 32 millimeter lens. I just needed the lens as a backup lens, but I got the camera for free. It was 145 euro, so I just couldn't leave it. So here's the original. Let me move this one to the right. There we go. And here's the end result, and I think that looks absolutely amazing. Right, so let's move on to the second one. I'm going to double click it, and I've done nothing to this image except for the fact that I've clicked on the orientation and then compressed the history stack. And you know, I'm going to change. Guys, I'm going to make sure that all these photos are available for you guys in my Google Drive as usual. I can't upload them right now. Maybe I could have done it in the description, but like I said, it's the first time I'm streaming, so I'll be sure to put it in the description later on so that people that are watching this stream afterwards can still download these images and then follow along. I'm sorry if I'm drifting away sometimes on subjects, but let's continue and let's move on. So I'm going to change again back to darktable. What I'm going to do is, let me have a quick look. Okay, we've got 10 viewers. I'm very happy with that. All right, so let's continue. This is a image which I've shot in, I think it was Lucerne in Switzerland last summer while we were there, Lisa and the dog. And this is called the Chapel Bridge. It's a very popular bridge. And the whole point of this trip, what I tried to do was take pictures that were framed with something natural. So in this case, the flowers, and then it framed this tower over here. It's not really in the center, but I can move it around a little bit. It's pretty well exposed, except for this part maybe, but it was a very, very bright day. And what I'm going to do is I want to straighten this one first. So for that, what I need to do is I need to use the perspective corrections module. And there's a couple of things you can do. You can rotate it manually, so that shifts, and double click it to undo everything. You can do a lens shift, or basically a tilt shift or whatever. Let me double click it. So vertically but horizontally as well. And what you can do is the shear. So that's very warpy like. Let me double click it. But what you can do as well is use the automatic fit or get the structure. If you click this, you'll see that lines are starting to appear. And now what I want to do is I want to use the automatic fit. And now it says that this is how the image should look. And to be honest, I think this looks absolutely horrible. So let me undo that. Let's see what happens again. Same result. Okay, so what I'm going to do right now is I'm just going to get those lines, and I'm going to rotate it manually just a little bit. And you can move these sliders if you want to, or you can just click your right mouse button and then fill everything in manually. So I'm going to see if, yeah, I think this looks a little bit better. It's very subtle. Automatic cropping, largest area. I'm going to close that one down, and now it's cropped automatically. As you can see, wait, go back to the image. There we go. Let me close it down. Maybe we need to rotate it a little bit more. This is usually a trial and error. Let's see. Maybe I should have rotated it that way. There we go. That looks better. Okay. So now what I want to do is I want to increase the contrast, and once again I'm going to use the basic adjustments, and let's see what we can make of this image. So I'm going to increase the black point. Going to decrease exposure a little bit, and you know what, I want to target the sky later on, but for now this will do. I'm going to increase the saturation of this image to make the flowers pop a little bit better. I'm going to decrease the brightness a little bit, very subtly. And about the middle gray point, I know I didn't address that a minute ago, but if you drag it to the right, nothing happens, and if you drag it to the left, nothing happens. But usually One way makes it brighter, the other way makes it darker. So let me double click it. I'm going to increase the contrast by quite a bit as well. And that already gives the image a different type of look. I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do with this image. I didn't prepare any of these images. I'm just going to edit them on the fly as I think they look best. Let's see what else we can do. I'm going to sharpen it once again. I don't want to crop and rotate it. I do want to denoise it, but I'll do that in a minute. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to increase some more contrast using the local contrast module, and look what happened. It really brightened up the darker parts. So you can increase the details and this looks way too strong, or decrease it and that looks way too soft. So for those of you who have followed me in the past year and know that I absolutely love 150%. So I'm going to place that on 150%. You can even change it to match to see, you know, the highlights are being affected 50%. You can drop them down or you can increase them. I'm going to drop them down a little bit. Same goes for the shadows. So you can change that any way you like. There we go. Let me just increase that a little bit. I'm going to keep the midtones as is. I'm going to activate the vibrance. And let me make that a little bit more strong because I like a strong effect in this image. And what I want to do is I want to tone down the reds a little bit because they are very strong. So what I can do right now is I can change the lightness of these pixels by dropping this down, or you know, pulling them up. Or what I can do is I can go to the saturation and then I can use the color picker and then check out where these colors are, and they're in this area obviously. So I'm going to place a point over here, going to drag them down just to take the edge off, because let me show you guys before and after. If I deselect, you see that it's very popping, it's very distracting. And now after I've activated it and I've dropped them down a little bit, it matches the image even better and it doesn't really draw your attention that much. Let's see, we've got Yellow spilled. Hello Yellow. And let me check the chat. New Age in the Hood, maybe. How's you doing, G? What you doing there? Well, as you can see, I'm editing some photos in Darktable. By the way, let me show you guys something. Let me transition back. You see this? I've bought this in Switzerland in the Charlie Chaplin Museum. If you go to Switzerland, be sure to check that one out because that was absolutely amazing. So let me go back to Darktable again. And I think this is it for this image, to be honest. I can do a couple of things more, but for now I'm pretty satisfied with how this looks. I don't really like how this area looks. Maybe we can tone down the highlights a little bit. Just to drop them down. There we go. Maybe increase this a little bit to make sure that this is where our attention is being drawn to and not so much to the sky. And then, as I said, denoise, I'm going to activate that one on the first instance, and then new instance, and then second instance. There we go. Now let me show you guys before and after. So I'm going to take a snapshot. Boom, there we go. And I'm going to make sure that I'm going to click the orientation one. And now on the right side is the original. And let me drag this to the right. And on the left side, we see that here's the new version. And it's much better. And my style of editing personally is that I really like to edit a photo as is, or as natural as possible. I'm a big fan of cinematic stuff as well, but for my own personal taste, and the thing I use the most is just create something as I've actually experienced it. So that's why I'm not going to do any color grading or, you know, orange and teal looks or stuff like that. So let's move on to the next one, which is another image I've taken on the Chapel Bridge, which is this one of this building right here. This was the subject. It's on the rule of thirds. I can show you guys because here are the rules of thirds. If I put this on, let's see, freehand, there we go. I can extend this. You'll see that I've made sure that the building is on this side. And what you want to do is you want to make sure that your subject is here, or is over here, or is in the center. And be sure to, if you put your subject on the left side, be sure that you make them look into the space. So don't make, if you make a portrait image or you take a portrait image and here's the face and it's looking that way and you've got all this empty space over here, that just looks awful. But if your portrait is over here looking that way or looking up or whatever, it's looking into the space, which gives the image a lot more feeling. So let's address this one. I'm going to double click it. There we go. Crop and rotate. I'm going to change the basic adjustments again. And we see that the black point is on point. But I want to increase the exposure a little bit. I'm going to make this a faded out image to show you guys a different effect. And we're going to increase some contrast again. Maybe, there we go. Wash it out. Going to compress the highlights over here. I'm going to decrease the brightness a little bit because you see that the clouds are being introduced into the image, and this is like it's very bright outside, very sunny, and then this makes it a little bit more cloudy. So we've got clouds coming in. I'm going to increase the saturation because that makes the image pop, you see. That makes a huge difference. So I'm going to put this on 0.20. There we go. I'm going to close that one down. I'm going to use the tone curve module. See if I can brighten the areas up. There we go, midtones. Make them come to life. There we go. That looks great. I want to drop down the highlights. Not too much. Let's see. There we go. And then local contrasts. See what that does. That's a little bit too much. Let me click this one. Sometimes if you use a module and you think it's too strong, just click this symbol over here. It's uniformly. And what you can do is you can basically change the opacity of the thing you're trying to add. So let's say you don't want to add it, and you might as well just deactivate it, but you want to add just a little bit. All you got to do is click the uniformly one and then change the opacity. So let me show you guys before and after. And it's very subtle. You can notice over here as well. It's very subtle, but it's definitely there. So I'm going to close that one down. And I'm going to increase the sharpening a little bit. And I might even tone that one down as well, about 75%. There we go. And then let's see, I want to decrease this area because this is way too bright. So I'm going to use the exposure one. I'm going to activate it. I'm going to use a mask because I haven't used a mask before. And if you want to know what you're addressing in the image, all you got to do is click this yellow symbol. And now you see that everything is being selected. But let me click this one, the brush one. And let me scroll the mouse wheel button towards me to increase it, away from me to decrease it. And if you hold the shift, scroll towards you, the feathering becomes less. And if you scroll away from you, the feathering becomes a lot more. So let's see what we're going to do. I'm going to target this area. Just a little bit. I don't know if this will work, but sometimes it's just a trial and error. And I can do this a different way as well. I'll show you guys in a minute. But for now, this is what I want to do because this is the lazy way. There we go. I can't skip ahead like I usually do in my tutorials, but here we go. I hope you guys forgive me. All right. So now I'm going to show you guys what we've done. So I'm going to click the symbol and you see that this is the area. I'm going to feather it a little bit. I'm going to blur it a little bit. And this might be a little bit too much. So I'm going to hit shift, scroll the mouse wheel button away from me. Just to make sure that not a lot is being selected. There we go. Let me click this symbol again. And now let me click this symbol right here. Show and edit mask elements. I'm just going to drop down the exposure. Look what happens. Now it's very dark. Now it's very bright. So I'm going to drop it down by minus 0.5. Show you guys before and after. That already looks a lot better. I might feather it some more. And I might even push it to minus 0.8. Let me go back from the screen. I think that looks great, man. Let me deactivate it. So here's a before and here's an after. So that looks great. Even kijken. So let's increase the vibrance as well. And I want to add the Velvia module. Here we go, Velvia. Let's place it in the favorites. Here we go, let's activate it. That makes the colors pop some more. So let me close that one down. So here's a before, and now here's an after. Let me show you guys real quick by pulling this to the right. Now it's very colorful. It's almost like a painting. Now let's move it to the left. Now it's a little bit more dull. So I'm going to place this on 35%. Let's close that one down. Okay, this looks great. I'm not going to change anything else other than another denoise. This is what I usually standard do, or a standard thing I do. And I can change to hue as well if I want to. Let me show you guys what happens. So if I'm going to select this area, which is in the green area. So let's say I want to make the water a little bit more blue. So I'm going to place a point over here. I'm going to place a point over here. I'm going to pull that one up. Now the green color cast is gone, but it looks horrible because the other parts are being affected as well. And we can change or address that by using another mask. So I can either paint over the water. That's one way to do it. Show you guys real quick. This is a really quick showcase of what you can do. So I'm just going to paint this. Here we go, here we go. It's really quickly. I'm going to show you guys a different way in a minute. There we go. You see that it started to change. So now not the entire image is being affected again, but just this area over here. Now let's say you don't want to use a mask like this. So you want to remove this one. You can click this symbol, but then the mask isn't gone. It's still being applied to this image. So I'm going to click that one. I'm just going to hit the right mouse button. There we go. And now it's gone and everything is being added over here. Another thing you can do is use the path one and then just draw a path over the water. Let me see, over there. And make sure we don't include the flowers. And this is not the best way to do it, but it's a way. There we go. So let me show you guys what's being selected right now. This area. You can change the opacity of the mask. There we go. Increase it, decrease it. You can change the contrast as well. So you can increase it or you can decrease it. You don't see a lot of change, but you should be able to blur it, feather it. That might be a little bit better. You see? Now it's changing. There we go. So let me decrease the contrast a little bit. And let me click this symbol. Let me show you guys before and after. So click it. There we go. That looks better. So now the water isn't green anymore. It's more blue-like. And this will do. Yeah, I'm going to keep this as is. You can use a parametric mask, but I'm going to use a parametric mask in the next image. That's why I'm not going to use it in this image. Let's move on to the next one. And it seems to me that everything is still working, so that's great. Okay, so this image, I figured that I'm going to use these walls as leading lines towards this subject. So this is basically the subject of my photo. It would have been nice if it was more in the center, but hey, you know, who cares? This just looked great in my opinion. And I made this while I was walking, so I didn't really take the time to take this image. I'm going to do a couple of things. First, I'm going to address it with a couple of basic things like I've done a minute ago. I'm not going to, let me see, I'm going to decrease the exposure a little bit, maybe compress the highlights, and then increase the contrast. I'm going to keep the black level as is, and I'm going to increase the saturation. There we go. And now what I want to do is, no wait, I'm going to deselect that one. I'll do that later. Now what I'm going to do is, I'm going to use the color zones module. And I want to change the greens. So I want to desaturate the greens and I want to keep the reds and the yellows. So for that, I'm going to the saturation one. I'm going to use the color picker, and you'll see that this is all in this area over here. So excuse me for using a 4K monitor, by the way. When I'm editing my videos, I usually use a pop-up that enlarges this, and then so you guys can follow along even easier. But now, obviously, because it's live, I can't really do it. So, okay, we've got the colors over here. Let me put a point. Let me drag this one down. You see that it's being desaturated already. That's one way. Let's say I just want to target this area instead of the other pixels in this image that might be there as well. I'm going to use a mix of a draw and a parametric mask, just to be very, very precise. So first I'm going to draw the mask, and I'm going to start over here. Here we go. Yep. It doesn't have to be very precise in this image. In some images you have to be, but for now I'm just going to make sure that I'm going to be very, very, very quickly. Oh wait, maybe over here. There we go. Over there and over there. Over there. And now only this area is being affected. Let me show you guys. There we go. I'm going to increase the feathering, increase the blur, change the contrast a little bit. I want to decrease the feathering and the blur. Okay, there we go. I want to change the size of the mask overall. So all you got to do is put your mouse in here and then scroll the mouse wheel button away from you or towards you. There we go. I'm going to drag it out just a little bit. I'm going to make sure that these points are more in. Yep, there we go. It won't really win any beauty contest, but hey, it's just to showcase you guys what you can do in Darktable. There we go. And you can use the parametric area as well. Let me click that one. And you can make it that it only affects the lightest pixels or the darkest pixels or the pixels in the middle. If you want to know where these pixels are, all you got to do is click this symbol, which is the color picker, and it says pick GUI color from image, control click to select an area. So if you hit the control, and I'm going to, that doesn't work. Why isn't that working? Control click. Let me go to the color picker point, put it on area. There we go. That works as well. And you see that the pixels of this image are in this area. So what I want to do is I want to drag this one in and this one as well. This is basically your feathering edge. So I'm going to place that one in, this one as well. There we go. Now let me click this symbol again. You see that it's starting to change a little bit. Now watch what happens if I drag this in. You see? Everything is starting to change. And the lower part is the input part. And Darktable quit on me. Let me see what happened. That's the thing with Darktable. Sometimes it just randomly quits while using a parametric mask. And I didn't figure out why that is. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to reopen Darktable. And this is very strange. Maybe I should send a crash report or something, but this is what happens with the 3.0 version. I've had it happen to me before, and I'm pretty bummed out why. Let me go back to the folder real quick. Tutorials, live stream, and I think it's this one. Open, there we go. Go back to the image. Because everything I've done is now gone. Let me show you guys. Go back, transition. There we go. We're back in Darktable. Everything is gone. It's horrible. I don't know why that is. It really pisses me off because you're working on an image and then poof, everything is gone. You have to start over. So I really hope people that are developing Darktable are really going to address this situation. I didn't get an error screen. I don't know where to get my log files and stuff like that, but let's continue and let's hope it doesn't happen again. So I'm not going to use, wait, let me go back. I'm not going to use the parametric mask again. It was just to showcase you guys what you can do to this image. Now let me finish up this image real quick for you guys. So I'm going to use the basic adjustments module, but now everything is gone from my favorites as well. So we're going to search it. You can use it by using the search module. I'm going to open that one up, activate it. I'm going to increase the black point just a little bit. Increase this. Well, I'm going to decrease the exposure a little bit, compress the highlights, increase the contrast. I'm not going to change the brightness, and I will be changing the saturation. And now let's go to the color zones module. Here we go, color zones. Let me activate that one, and I want to change the saturation of the greens. There we go, let me drop them down. I want to keep the warm colors, so I might even pull them up a little bit. So the reds and the yellows. I want to decrease the blues as well, to be honest. So I'm going to decrease that. Let's place a point over there. Let me see if everything works. Okay. That already looks a lot better. I want to decrease it even more, the saturation that is. And now let's see if we can change the lightness a little bit of the pixels. You see that if I move it upwards or if I move it downwards, there's a huge difference in how it looks. I'm going to bring it up just a little bit. So we've got the reds and the yellows left in this. Okay. Okay, I think we're back right now. Let me switch back to the live view transition. There we go. And that's it. So let me show you guys before and after. I already taken a snapshot. Let me click the original one. So the original one is on the right side. Now let's move it to the right. And here we've got the new version. And there's a huge difference in how this image looks. So let me change back to me. There we go, transition. So I hope you guys like it. This was the first time I've done a stream. Let me know in the comment section down below. Let me know in the chat, which will be closed obviously, but let me know in the comment section down below what you guys thought of this stream. I'm going to work a couple of things out for the next time. I'll be sure to stream again somewhere in 2020. I hope to see you guys next week. I've got one more video for this year, which will be posted on my birthday. It's the 29th of December. I've put a lot of work in this video, so I really hope you guys like it. And for this week, there's only one more thing left for me to say, which is make love to the like button, consider subscribing if you haven't already, hit that bell button to be the first to be notified when I drop in a video. And until next time, doei!